Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the series where we take new items added into a Call of Duty game and answer the question, how good are they? Today we are looking at a brand new weapon added into Black Ops 4 yesterday. That is, of course, the Grav, aka the Galil, depending on what the first Call of Duty game you've ever played was. So as far as the Grav goes, it is currently only unlocked on the PS4 because the community challenge to unlock it for 15 million matches played came out a week early on the PS4. So assumably about a week from now is when Xbox will be getting this as well. As far as PC goes, I don't think they're going to be able to complete 15 million matches, so I don't know when that's going to happen. Maybe they'll just cheese it for you guys. Now, as far as this weapon goes, what we are going to be looking at today, we are going to be looking at its stats, best class setup, and answering the question, how good is it? On top of that, with this one, we don't have to answer the question, is this pay to win? Because anyone who plays the game gets to unlock this weapon. So, without further ado, let's dive in and answer the question, how good is the Grav? Now, to start things out, I thought we would look at a little bit of history with the Galil. So the very first Call of Duty game to have the Galil in it was Call of Duty Black Ops 1. And to be honest with you, this was my favorite weapon in Black Ops 1. It wasn't as good as the FAMAS, but its high damage and low fire rate made it very easy to control, and you could suppress this thing, and it was an absolute beast. After this, the Galil was brought back in Black Ops 2, but was only available in zombies, not in multiplayer whatsoever. Now, as far as multiplayer goes, the Galil was brought back to multiplayer on March 16th, 2017 to Black Ops 3 as a DLC weapon only available in supply drops. Now, as far as other Call of Duty games not made by Treyarch, the Galil has never been in one of those games. However, was almost put into Modern Warfare Remastered, as with the final game files, you could actually see images of the Galil being used in-game, but was never implemented in the final version. Now, as far as Black Ops 4 goes, this weapon was in Black Ops 4 at the launch, but only in Blackout. This weapon in Black Ops 4 is not called the Galil, but rather the Grav, and then yesterday was put into multiplayer. So moving on to the stats of the weapon, as always, we start out with arguably the most important stat, the damage. So as far as the damage goes, you are looking at 40 damage up close and 32 damage at long range. This is going to range from a 4 to a 5 bullet kill. This is very similar to another weapon in the game that all of you are probably familiar with, the Rampart. It is slightly less damage, but it's the same bullets to kill. As far as your range, you're going to drop from a 4 to a 5 bullet kill at this range here. It's not overly long, but kind of average for what we see throughout all of Black Ops 4. However, its next stat that is definitely better than the Rampart is the fire rate. So the fire rate on the Galil in multiplayer is 575 RPM. Now, as far as fire rates for assault rifles in Black Ops 4 go, this is the third slowest. The only two that are slower than it are the Rampart and the KN-57. However, the KN-57 has rapid fire that actually puts it above that. So a rather slow fire rate, but like I said before, it does have that higher damage, kind of like the Rampart. Now, the next stat is the time to kill, and as always, this is an extremely important one, and it's actually pretty decent for the Grav. So you're going to look at 313 milliseconds up close and 417 at long range, which is actually really good for the assault rifles in this game. However, there is no attachments for this weapon to actually improve the time to kill. There's no rapid fire, there's no high caliber, and as we're going to see when we create a class, that's a real problem for this weapon. Now, the next one is an interesting one because we are looking at magazine size, and when you look at the original magazine size for the Grav, it is 35 rounds, which really is just kind of average for assault rifles. However, extended mags is available for this weapon, and if you use it, it bumps that up to a 55 round magazine, which is much, much larger and a very big difference. That being said, though, I would still much rather have fast mags or hybrid mags as opposed to extended mags, but unfortunately, that's not available for the Grav. We are going to get into attachments in a little bit, and as you're going to see, that's kind of one of the big downsides to this weapon, but like I said, we'll get there. So the magazine size is pretty good on the Grav, but what about the reload speed? So the reload speed is definitely going to be one of the stats on the Grav that might actually turn some people away from it, because the reload speed is 1.8 seconds, which is actually by far the slowest reload speed out of any of the assault rifles in the game. Now, the big problem with this is there's no way to actually speed up that reload speed. There's no hybrid mags and there's no fast mags, which means you just kind of have to deal with it. Now, you can use extended mags, and it bumps you up to 55 round magazine, which is great, but you still have to be super selective about when you're actually going to reload. The final stats we have to look at are the aim down sights and sprint out time. So the aim down sights normally for this weapon is 300 milliseconds, and the sprint out time is 250 milliseconds, which is very average for the assault rifles in this game. However, quick draw is available for the Grav, which can reduce that aim down sights time to 250 milliseconds and make the ADS and the sprint out the exact same speed. Now, the one other bonus that you have with the Grav that some of the other assault rifles have is that this weapon has 0 idle sway. As you can see, when you aim down sights here, your weapon does not move at all, which makes it very easy to aim at a target. So all in all, what we are seeing here looking at these stats is they are very good. They are very consistent except for the reload speed. But other than that, you have a good time to kill, good damage, good fire rate, and you have a pretty good weapon. However, where we run into problems is when we look at the attachments for this weapon. So first of all, as far as the reticles go, you only have 3, Reflex, Recon, and the NVIR, aka the Thermal, which is odd because in Blackout, you can actually use the ELO with this weapon as well, just not in multiplayer. So as far as this goes, I don't really like the iron sights, so I generally use the red dot or the Reflex. Now, as far as attachments go, as you can see, we got Grip 1, Grip 2, Long Barrel Suppressor, FMJ Laser Sight, Extended Mags, Quick Draw, and Stock. The first thing you should notice here is there is no attachments that actually make your time to kill faster. There is no rapid fire, there is no high caliber 1 or high caliber 2. So unlike the other top tier assault rifles like the KN57 and Rampart, there is nothing that actually makes your time to kill godly, and that is why when we rate this weapon, it doesn't really get like a top tier rating like the Rampart would. So just a little personal aside for this as far as class making goes, generally speaking, there is certain attachments that whenever they're available in Black Ops 4, I put them on my class. These include high caliber, rapid fire, hybrid mags, or fast mags. Reason being is I'm an aggressive player, so the hybrid mags or fast mags allow me to reload much quicker, and then time to kill is almost always your most important stat, and those rapid fire and high calibers are going to be what improves that. As you can see by the attachments we just looked at, none of those are actually available for the Grav, and to me that's a pretty big problem. Now, because those attachments are not available, what is the class setup that I actually use? So what I use is I use a reflex sight because, as I mentioned before, I don't like the iron sights. I think the two most important attachments on this weapon are the quick draw and the stock. The quick draw allows you to snap on target faster, and the stock is going to allow you to outstrafe other players that have faster killing weapons like a Rampart, like a KN57, or like an Auger. Now, as far as your third attachment that I'm using here, I use the long barrel because it extends that 4 bullet kill range and it's going to make your time to kill faster for a longer range, which I think is pretty important. However, if you're running into a lot of trouble with reloading, you can switch this out for extended mags. Personally, I like long barrel though. Also, if a lot of people on the enemy team are using body armor, the FMJ is going to make a bullet difference against body armor, so you could use that as well. As far as grips go on this weapon, I really don't think they're necessary. As I mentioned before, this weapon has very low idle sway and pretty low recoil, so I really don't think you need grips on this weapon. And then as far as the rest of the class, it's the same as all my other classes: Stim Shot, Engineer, Gung Ho, and Ghost. Sorry, not Ghost. Dead Silence. Use Dead Silence, not Ghost. It's better. So this leaves us with a question of how good is the Grav? And it's kind of a hard question to answer because if you're using this weapon against every other weapon with no attachments, it's actually a really good gun. However, that's not the case. That's not the way multiplayer works in Black Ops 4. And you're going to be playing against weapons like the Auger, Rampart, KN57. These weapons that have attachments that really improve their time to kill. And because of that, you're going to get outgunned a lot while using the Grav. So basically the way it works is if the Grav had high caliber or even just had rapid fire, this would be a top tier weapon, but it doesn't. So it is above average, but it's not quite on that god tier level. So personally, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. I could see justifying giving it a 7, but personally, I like having those incredibly fast time to kill, so I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10. But as always, guys, I want to hear what you think about the weapon, so let me know down in the comments comments. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What attachments do you use on it? Let me know down in the comments. Also, as always, guys, I put a ton of effort into these videos, so if you do enjoy them, it is always appreciated if you do hit that like button. And if you like what you see here and want to stay up to date on all my videos, the best way to do so is make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on. But guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see me do any other weapons or any other things in this series, let me know down in the comments below. And guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too